What's going on, guys? This is Mike with Naps and Nurture / Nappy Gang Gaming. Tonight we're going to be doing a quick review on the PlayStation exclusive title, Uncharted, Drake's Fortune. Let's get into it. Drake's Fortune. First Uncharted. Chill out, Tia.
My end is near. In my final hour, I commend my soul to God. May he have mercy on this unholy place. Francis Drake. So what were you looking for?
This video gave it like a whole different feel, for real.
Gold statue. Weight 20 arrobas. That's over 500 pounds. That's gotta be it. What the hell happened here? You're trapped, Drake. Roman wants him dead. You assured me that Drake was captured and the island secure. Kill them both. I assure you, El Dorado is worth more than you can possibly imagine. I'm telling you, this island is cursed! Oh no! Oh God, no!
The game is dope. Alright, so that wraps up the trailer. So let's get into my interpretation of the game and just my overall review of it. Uncharted Drake's Fortune is a PlayStation exclusive title. It was released in 2007. Game developer Naughty Dog is responsible for it. It was also published by Sony. Came out in 2007. I think I just graduated that year, May 2007. I want to say it came out in November. So the story goes, Nathan Drake is a descendant of Sir Francis Drake. Sir Francis Drake had a ring, and the ring that Nathan wears is pretty much like an heirloom of his. On that ring, there were coordinates. I'm guessing it was sort of like longitude, latitude embedded like on the inside of his ring. He followed those coordinates and it led to Sir Francis Drake coffin. Inside the coffin was a diary telling him that he was in search for the city of El Dorado, or what he thought was a city. Come to find out that it's not a city, that is actually a golden idol, a golden statue, and that this particular statue was cursed. There's a guy, a mercenary, I believe, Roman, him and a guy named Navarro, they were after this particular idol as well. Sully had gave one of the guys a heads up that him and Nathan were on to this particular hunt, so they intercepted it. And the idol actually was cursed, and supposedly the Spanish years ago was trying to capture this particular idol. What happened is all of them that tried to open it and do something with it became possessed, or they mutated in some sort of way into like these beings, these I don't want to say zombie-like, but they were more like mutated beings. Super strength, super fast, things like that. But they were all in this sort of tomb, or this underground tomb sort of place. And Nathan was under the impression that the idol was being moved, or it was somewhere else, and it was there. And the Spanish he kept thinking that they had left or fled or were vacated out, when in reality they never left. They were turned. They were mutated into these beings. Navarro and Roman were constantly trying to get this idol. It's basically like a race and a hunt to get this statue. Navarro knew of its properties and knew of its powers, and he allowed Roman to try and capture it and open it, and it turned him as well. In the end, he ended up shooting Roman, and that's what this whole hunt was about. They thought it was a particular city that they were discovering or getting ready to discover, when in reality it was an idol, this idol or whatever. Overall, awesome game, a lot of fun, great graphics, great game. The pros that I liked about it, as I said, graphics, great visuals, everything was stunning to look at, water and the trees and buildings, looking at some of the ancient ruins that they were traveling in, some of the tombs and underground areas. All of it was just beautiful to look at. The storyline was really good, really solid storyline. It wasn't too out there, it wasn't too far-fetched. Easy to understand, easy to follow storyline. I'm a person who's big on nostalgia. I was born in '88, but for some odd reason, I have like this infatuation with looking at things from the 60s, 50s, 40s, and even further back, and just sort of, conjuring up my own thought process as to how things went and operated back then. So anything historic I like. This one wasn't necessarily a nostalgia. This one was more so ancient, which I still had an appreciation and love for. It was just a great body of work, so far as graphics, storyline, so far as historic, being able to hint at history a little bit. It had great value there. The voice acting was incredible. Everyone did a good job. Like I said, the characters that you're coming in contact with, mainly Nathan Drake, Alina Fisher, and you're coming in contact with Victor Sullivan. Great voice actors. They do an excellent job with just the conversation that they're having. It doesn't sound like they're reading anything. Everyone sounds like they're vested into this storyline, into this script, and they do an excellent job at acting it out. From what I hear, they actually weren't just sitting in a studio and just giving out words, but they actually were moving and acting out a lot of the things that were happening in the scenes to give more of a feeling of what's happening, and their words would correspond with what's happening. Oftentimes you will get video games where people are in the studio and they're just recording voice audio, and then it's placed onto the scene, and you can tell, you can hear it. This was not the case. Excellent. Cons for me, one of the cons that I could think of firsthand was weapons. The weapon cache was lacking. You only could carry two weapons. You press left, you can access a pistol or a handgun. You press right, and you can access like a rifle, possibly a SMG, shotgun, things like that. But it was only two at a time. You couldn't carry anything else. What else could you carry? That was it. Pistol, your secondary gun, which was usually your rifle. For me, I always carried a pistol and an AK and some grenades if I could. That was it. Everything else was pointless. Your ammo and your weapon cache basically depended on what your enemies carried. You couldn't develop your own cache. You couldn't have a headquarters or anything like that where you got weapons from and deployed until on your quest to go wherever it is that you were going. You had to, your weapons depended on your enemies and what they had. And I thought that was lame. I didn't like that at all. I didn't like having to depend on what they have so far as what I acquire. The shotgun that they have on her was okay, but it's okay in close quarters. And a lot of the shooting that I like to do is distance. I like to do distance shooting. So shotgun was no use to me. I didn't really care for the grenades that much. For some odd reason, you throw a grenade and enemies would instantly just leave that area. It was rare to get a grenade kill on that game. So that was one of the cons that I didn't like. Your character's ability. You could jump from a cliff and be hanging on to another cliff by your hands, and you could jump and scale to a ledge that's much higher with ease. I have no problem with that. The problem that I had was you would be walking and that would be a box that's about like come to your hip and you can't jump on top of it. Like the game was extremely linear in that regard. In a sense of this is where we'll allow you to go and this is where we won't allow you to go. Because this is where all of our storyline is built into. Right over here in this section, over here by this building. So exploring and being able to jump on top of things and navigate a little more in a detailed way was obsolete. That wasn't happening at all. You could easily see where the story, like the actual line of the game was at, and that was annoying. Being able to jump and scale the wall with your hands and upper body strength to the ability he was able to, and not be able to jump on top of a box or jump on top of a desk, it was annoying. Gunfights. I like a good gunfight. I like some exciting stuff. I got some good footage from some gunfights, but some of the gunfights were a little exaggerant. You will go down the hallway and you can just smell the gunfight coming. You walk down the hallway, you see a cover area here, you see a slab of stone right there you can take cover behind, and you just knew sorry, it's a little late. And I didn't mind gunfighting. It's just the amount of people that you have to get rid of and shoot at. It made the game feel like a redundant shooter. I remember a long time ago, I tried out a game called Stranglehold. The first 5 minutes of me playing that game, I think it was like a John Woo game or something like that. First 5 minutes of me playing that, I could not do it. Because you're literally you got two guns and you're just doing this the entire time. Just shoot. Everything you did was shoot based. And I felt like this game was almost becoming that. And I didn't like that. I didn't want it to feel like I gotta shoot in order to navigate everywhere. And it had its moments like that, where the set pieces were just sort of ridiculous. You had 80 guys popping up and you had to shoot all of them. You gotta run around and try to recollect ammo in order to stay competitive and beat your enemies, beat the NPCs. That was annoying. I didn't like also how, say for instance, I'm walking down the street, I see a building. So I go up to the front door, try to open the front door, building is locked or chained on the other side. So my only objective is to get on the other side of the door. There's windows, there's, a way, there's openings on top of the building because it's, it's been warfare there. It's not necessarily a well-kept building. There's all these different into this building, and for some odd reason, they would have you go all the way around and do some weird crap just to get into the building and get on the other side of the door. That was extremely annoying for me. I did not like that. I had to go down the street, climb up a street sign, shimmy around the street sign, jump onto a ledge of a building or a separate building, shimmy around, grab onto some wooden ledges, swing and catch each wooden ledge, get on top of another building, jump across, then go downstairs and shoot a bunch of guys just to get on the other side of the door. It was so many things you had to do just to literally sometimes just go a couple feet ahead. That was annoying. Did not like that at all. What was another con that I had? That may have been it so far as cons. Like I said, graphics, voice acting, sorry about that. Storyline, all those things were top notch. All things were great, especially for 2007. It was really good. I wish you could, like I said, have more weapons, collect more items, or have more items at your disposal besides just guns. But so far as cons, I think that's what did it for me. Another pro that I liked was the puzzles. I like the fact that the game sometimes would, of course they helped you out with the journal, because he would write stuff down in the journal as he saw it or as he would witness it, and however certain things were positioned, however his notes had things written in position and order that you had to replicate. So if it's a statue and the arms are out like this, but this arm is down, something like that, you would have to go over to the statue and move that arm up in order to access like a hidden wall. If there was a few symbols and they were in a certain order, you had to reorganize the symbols. I like the fact that it threw small hints of puzzle solving or problem solving in there as well. That was pretty cool. I like that. Overall, excellent game. I would recommend it to anyone. I did a playthrough on Twitch. I'm gonna drop a link in the description below. You can check out my Twitch account. I got a playthrough for that. I got a playthrough for Uncharted 2. Among Thieves, I'll be doing a review on that as well as the third one. But yeah, that is it for this review. So I'm gonna rate this game with all the good things that I like: the graphics, storyline, historical nostalgia, the voice acting, the cons being the weapon cache, the set pieces, the limitation of the character's ability. I'm gonna give it a low 8. I'm gonna say an 8. A low 8 or a high 7. The game is a very solid game. A decent replay value. It's a nice title to have to your collection. I wouldn't mind playing it again. And just kind of paying a little closer attention to the storyline and looking for different symbols and things like that I can kind of mentally pick apart and look into further and see if it relates to anything in real history. Other than that, I'll give it a solid 8. That's my review on it. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Keep an eye out for the second review coming for Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. Once I finish up the playthrough on Twitch, I'll upload that one as well. Take it easy, guys.